to do Catapult versus Elite. So what I kind of did, and I put it up on the screen too, I did little comparisons between the two. So of course you have low pressure laminate, which is our Catapult line, and then you have high pressure laminate, which is the Elite series line. And our little Aruco people, they came in with this really nice handy handout that kind of gives you a good description of why Elite laminate is more money, the process that goes into it, all the layers that go into building the product and everything. So that's a really nice handy handout to hand, or maybe hand out to your clients if they ever ask you the differences. Catapult. The main difference is Catapult is it's a selected line of finishes. So I've also included the line of finishes that are in the Catapult line, along with I wrote the color of the grommet that goes with that finish. Of course, the grommet can be interchangeable if you don't like that grommet color, but this is what's standard. So if you're going to change the grommet color, you got to let your designer know so the drawings reflect that change. You can also kind of see here, I have both samples. If you look at this, this is Catapult, and you can see it's double-sided. And that's why we love it, because we buy the board just like this, in both sizes, 3/4 and 1 1/8. So 1 1/8 is the surfaces, and 3/4 is the storage and supports, or some of the supports. Then Elite, there's no finish on the back. So when Elite arrives, it arrives like this, and we apply it to the board. Or we can buy it pre-made too. We can buy it both ways, but it's just an extra step in the process. With the Catapult line, these colors we buy and we keep them in stock. That's because they have a longer lead time, and if they're not in stock, or you want to do a special finish, it's a longer lead time plus more money. So there are lots of choices with RV Catapult. You can get a lot of more choices, but just keep in mind that you have to have the right quantity of job. You can't just buy it for an office. If you buy it because we're buying this stuff in bulk. With Elite, you can buy for one office, one table, because we're buying it sheet by sheet. But you also have an arrange. You could run into issues with that as well. Elite's kind of one of those. Most of the product runs in our lead time, but you do run into problems with certain finishes that it could run longer. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're quoting out Elite. Edge details. With Catapult, you always get the vinyl edge. That's the only edge you get with Catapult, is the vinyl. With Elite, as shown, you can have the vinyl edge, you can have self-edge, you can have T-mold, you can have quarter round T-mold. So those are kind of your limited choices with the Elite. You just get more choices with the edge detail as well. Catapult is always $15 a square foot. Elite starts at $19 a square foot. We've gone ahead, and you can tell by my little image here at the bottom, I've had Lexi put little red dots on Elite finishes because they've updated our Wilson Art board to have finishes that are above our Elite pricing. So the little red dot means you need to let your designer know that that's a special finish, and that more than likely that finish is going to be more money and it's going to be a longer lead time. Incredibly important. As a salesperson, you need to let your designer know this entire number on the back, the entire number. You can't just say the first 4 digits. The last 2 digits are actually the most important. So with every time you give them a laminate finish, this has to be on the job. If it is not, the girls will no longer accept it. Okay, girls? They'll know, you'll get it returned even if it's Biltmore Cherry, especially if it's an existing client. If you don't let them know that last 2 digits, we've had jobs where the 2 digits were different and they've installed 2 different finishes on a job site. So you have to let them know those last 2 digits. Board sizes. Catapult only comes in 5x8 boards. Elite, you can go as big as 5x10. So you are able to do bigger conference room tables if you want with Elite. This is kind of, I don't know if you guys all know this, but when you're getting a Catapult lateral file, the whole unit, if it's mocha, the whole unit is mocha. if you're buying an Elite lateral file, the case is black. Only the front is mocha. You can have it laminated, but it is significantly more. And that's the same with bookcases. Your bookcases with Catapult come, if you want cherry, they come all cherry. If you order an Elite bookcase in cherry, your interior is going to be black. So that's always good to know. It is like, I think, around 40% more to do your complete interior of a bookcase with the light. Catapult is always the ROI standard lead time. And Elite, you just want to keep in mind you could go up in your lead times. Like we talked about, the board comes prepared to use. Laminate, it's sometimes glued onto the board. As far as the library samples for Catapult, Laura is constantly keeping those updated, and if you need samples, please go to Laura. Lexi is going to be our Wilson Art girl, so she's going to get trained in everything on making sure the Wilson Art board keeps updated. Are you excited? Kind of the last thing to know about this little spreadsheet is, talk about the numbers, is in Elite, you have the ability to curve a panel. So like when we do receptions and they're curved, that's only in Elite. That's not something you can have in Catapult. And I think, lastly I noticed, and this has been changed, but just not, you can have just solid black as a Catapult finish, but proceed with caution because it shows a lot of fingerprints. So I'd avoid it on surfaces. Maybe just keep it on your storage and stuff like that.
Do we have the ability to do just a south gray yet?
Melanie-wise?
Yeah.
We haven't selected one, but if we do, we have to add it to our...
We would have to add it. So it's not like black. It's not like black where it's
Right.
real
Otherwise,
accessible.
otherwise we can do Pisces chart, but it has to be the right size chart. Real quick on the laminate, when Karen mentioned to go up to 10 feet, I know that sometimes people request 11 or 12 feet long pieces as one piece. It rarely happens, but it happens. And it's, the laminate comes 5 by 12, but the board is only 5 by 10. So on those cases, what happens is we join together the board to make it 12 foot long, and then we apply the laminate after. But you got to keep in mind that where the seam of the board is, you might see a little bump. It's never going to come up perfect. So just keep that in mind. It's a lot of labor to do it, but it's possible and not perfect. Because I know probably most of you requested before.
And whiteboard comes smaller too, right?
Yes.
Whiteboard's 4 by 8.
4 by 8. Yeah.
And then also, I think Elite, you can't miter cut Catapult. It only can be mitered in Elite, right?
Correct.
Okay, so the girls and I have been doing some experimenting. We've been playing science. So as of right now, our first science project was to see what the difference between Catapult and Elite would be if water was constantly sitting on it. How they would react, how long it would take for something to happen. And as of right now, this has just been a week so far, and this all we have right now is just like this line built up just from something, and actually I think it's like a saturated paper towel that's just sitting on it. So as of right now, it's just like these little lime deposits that's built up on it. We're gonna keep doing this for months just to see like when something actually, how long it takes for it to actually
To give in.
yeah, and which one kind of gives in.
But that was a week.
This was a week just like this of it constantly sitting on it.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's really like, both of them hold up really well. And actually I think that was a surprise we did with most of our tests. Most of them, the same reaction occurred with both products. So we kind of took different things. You can kind of pass them around. But we in this instance, this is Elite. We dropped the tape measure on it. So you can kind of see it nicked it, took away some color. Here's a scissor that Lauren just literally stabbed into it. We've scraped stuff across. You can even see here where we've kind of taken a crayon and shown how the seam fill and everything would react to it too. So if you guys want to pass those around and kind of see, that's the Elite. And then this is the Catapult option, which is also the same way. And a lot of it too is just deeper nicks and everything like that. So you can kind of see a lot of them when we were messing around with the crayon, like if you put it on, Miguel, I might need you to do the rubbing process to show. So that was like a little nick. There, covered it right up.
Not well done, but
No, but you can kind of see like the nick in the raw wood that was exposed kind of goes away after you put it
Do you
in.
think
like
that might change if you had something that didn't have a texture to it?
it's a whole different level.
I
It'll
don't know
show
where
a
the
little bit
glitter
more.
came from.
Texture helps a little bit.
I think so too, especially when it comes to water.
On
Goes
the
under
leaf,
the Christmas
like
tree.
you said, it's black interior. Can you request?
Oh, is that why it has glitter all over it?
same chart, like for the same amount?
Yeah, and a lot of times we do white on casework. Yeah, but you do have to be specific. If you don't be specific, the guys will automatically do black.
It's, I don't think I would call
Doing white
doing
interior.
white,
think
but
you
it's
need
fun.
a mill-
I thought you said, right?
Medical.
Pets.
Yeah, medical we've done it. Oh, but your peds, yeah, your peds are always going to be black because the drawers on the inside are, we buy them black.
What's the upcharge to get your storage cases finished?
There is an upcharge, but I don't know what it, I think it's, is it on the microphone? We could check.
We talk about
And then
it.
if
It's
not-
gonna be somewhere else.
Because I know bookcases are 40%. So I'm going to say it's might be.
A little note on the melanin. I know that years ago, melon was considered like real cheap product that almost nobody wants it. But over time, they did such a good job with the textures and the thickness of it, and the wear and tear is a lot better. As you can see, it's almost the same as the laminate. So just keep that in mind, because I know a lot of people, once you say melamine, it's like, well,
And don't, like, what percentage do you think Catapult is of our business versus Elite?
90.
90%. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. So most of the product going out of here is the Catapult product. Anything else? Anybody else have any more questions?
Of course.
I know you're surprised. What is the difference between regular T-mold and quarter round?
Quarter round?
The thickness of it.
Yeah. And regular
Why would you want to
T-mold.
use one versus the other?
We used to use regular T-mold for training room tables and like it's a tighter, it gives you a tighter radius. Quarter round T-mold we bought as like a more durable,
It's a lot
And it was
thicker,
wider radius.
stiff, and it'll require a 6-inch radius in order to curve it. You can go down to 4, but over time it'll start pulling.
like you would never do quarter round around a complete surface.
Right.
Because it just,
It's too much.
It's too much. You would do regular T-mold.
So would you say that the regular T-mold is probably more similar to like a 3 mil? Does it
It's
look
even
like it?
bigger than
It's thicker than that.
So regular T-mold is still thicker than 3
Than
mil?
3 mil, yeah.
Okay.
Which 3 mil is what's on our surfaces.
For
And then,
elite.
and for
Catapult's 2 mil.
2 mil
Catapult's
is
2 mil.
Catapult, Elite is
3 mil. And storage is 1 mil.